when you don't see Hori, it's time for you to grow.
Yeah.
Life will push you to grow. Kankani. You'll find that the company will retrench or
those kinds of
like these weird things happen.
We did speak about that actually. You know, I was thinking that, you know, I'm actually not that type of employee who has to come through and always be asking for, hey guys, it's time for a raise. What, like always being the guy who always does it. Like, no man, like the job I do is way important. It might not seem like that in a startup company, depending on what you guys are concentrating on, but no, as the caliber of the work I do is definitely nothing to be taken like a general thing. So I'm not the type of person who is supposed to be out there begging for these things. Either there's a conversation and that conversation just ends as quick as possible.
You know, I've always told you, Ms. Hore, you must know your worth. If you remember our calls, the one thing I keep emphasizing on is know your worth.
I think you know the interesting thing about that is it's been a journey, right? It's been like a journey of the past year and this year. Things have changed so much to a point that even the way things are being planned, it's that thing, exactly knowing your worth. Even that, I still feel like it's in its own is a journey. I'll say it, I haven't had like that courage to really like explore it fully to like 100% of what know your worth is. I have like maybe 60%. I have that on the mark, but it doesn't feel like it's complete. Cause you know the problem with know your worth sometimes it's also know your worth and also know what to back up after.
You know your worth. Some people are ridiculous. For example, I'll be like, okay, I'm worth the job that I do and whatever. I'm worth 40,000, and then I go out there when I do interviews. I'm like, no, give me 60, cause I can. You know, because the American market is saying that I'm worth 60, so give me 60. When realistically, according to cost of living in South Africa, I'm worth 40. So, yes, it's about knowing your worth, but don't be unrealistic about it. Like, have like realistic figures to say, yeah, this is what I'm worth. I'm worth a good husband, somebody who treats me right, but he doesn't have to massage my feet every day. You don't be unrealistic about it.
That is true. Yeah, but I think like just after that, so and I always have this type of feelings, especially when she's around. Yeah, because for the most part, I've always the only time I've excelled is when I channel
my energy.
That's the only time. Like now I can be like, okay,
remember that message.
Remember that message. Remember this. And remember that.
Did it come from somewhere, or you've always thought in that sense? I mean, it's one thing to know your worth in the professional capacity or space, and outside that, how do you get to that?
It's been a long journey.
So it's a journey.
It's been a long journey. You have to go through a point where you feel worthless.
Hey, I don't like the sound of that.
Start understanding your worth.
There's one thing I was thinking the first thing when you asked that question was, I think you also have to have been through a lot.
Yeah. To understand what it means. So a summary, I won't go into deep detail, but you know, I had grew up with a stepfather, my mother who's trying to make her marriage work by all means, you know. So I didn't have what's a perfect childhood. So there were times when I felt like I didn't belong in the home. I didn't feel like I was worth much. So I had to go through a process where I understood, okay, I might not be great at washing dishes, cleaning up, but I'm really great at business ideas and making my own money, doing my own hair, hustling. That's where my worth is. If I'm worthless in other parts of life, I know I have worth with finding or hustling or doing something else. So you have to go through a journey where you understand that, Shabu, I am not worthy of some things, your lowest point. And then you eventually understand that, people have preferences. I might not be worthy to sing, but definitely finds me worthy. Like, he sits with me, he understands me, he values my input. You have to, and always be in a space where you are worthy. Like, you feel like you are worthy of being in that space. That person deserves you, you deserve that person. So it was a long journey, but it took a lot of tears to understand, or to get to understanding that actually I am worthy. I'm worthy of having the things that I have. I'm worthy of being happy. I'm worthy of being loved. I'm worthy of being paid 100K per month, guys.
Then would that mean that anyone who hasn't found their worth hasn't gone through like a situation,
a tough period that
that
will have you go on your knees,
is there,
as I said,
is there
crying,
yeah.
pain.
Is there a know your worth? Is there a part where someone would know their worth
without the experience of being broken down?
I think it is possible if you grow up in an environment, or grow up, let me put it that way. It doesn't matter whether it's parents or aunties or whatever, wherever you grow up, whichever environment you grow up in, where you are made to feel, or you are reminded that you are worthy, you are loved, you are enough. You may break the plates every time you wash the dishes, but that's okay. You're a human being. We all make mistakes, and you are enough. We love you the way that you are. Because I think unworthiness comes from a place where somebody is lacking that fundamental reminder that they are loved. Even at work, if you think about it, you're like, I really can't do this job. I can't code as good as Uzbanbani, because Uzbanbani always gets comments, good comments, but I never. That's a form of love and appreciation, right? So if you're constantly getting those remarks and comments as well, you will feel worthy. So it's love, it's validation, it's appreciation. If you grow up in an environment that's constantly feeding those needs of yours, then 100%.
So those,
you won't need to go through the worst.
Those type of sayings where they say you have to suffer to know.
No, it's not all the time. Unfortunately, some of us did. It was a beautiful journey. But my kids won't have the same journey. They'll probably have a different one, because I don't have any control over who they date, right? So at home, you might be doing the work, making them listen to affirmation songs in the morning. You are loved, you are worthy, you are beautiful, you are smart. And then they get to school, they find Mrs. Banbani that tells them that, wena auko smart. It's that kind of stuff. So you might do the work, and then somebody else just takes you 10 steps back.
So I want to throw a spur in the works. I had to obviously look for the right expression. So this expression goes like, hard times create strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. What are you thinking around that? Because already speaking about you don't have to. So when when he asked, can you have character? Because essentially that's what we are referring to, right? Having character.
Without
can you have
hard
character
times.
without hard times, right? And I mean, the general, we can all agree that usually it's the struggle that creates diamonds in some sense, or people that are commendable characters and individuals in society.
I think struggles can sway you in two directions.
Okay.
That's the danger right there. You know where the danger is. Struggles can sway you into
You know
directions.
where the danger is.
So it can sway you to be humble and understand that every small thing needs to be appreciated, including the breath you breathe. Right?
Yeah.
That's one extreme. Or the other extreme where you feel like, you know what, I'm entitled to living a good life. So no matter what, I'm gonna have a good life. Whether I still cheat or lie, I am going to have a good life. You know, so struggle is not the key thing to build character. I don't think it is, because it can go both ways. So if I say
then that means you have to choose. So then in that case, then depending on what you choose, then for you then your struggles have paid off.
my struggles have there's a lot of variables, man. It wasn't just the struggle that made me who I am. There's a lot of variables. One of the things I keep remembering is when I think about swaying in the other direction. I mean, I could have dated Belesas, right? And I chose not to. But one of the things I keep remembering is my grandfather saying, be true to who you are.
Yeah.
If you know deep down who you are, be true to that person. So my truth was, yes, I want to be successful. Yes, I want money. I want to get out of Soweto. But I'm not gonna date an old guy and having him hammer me, whatever. like the image of it just didn't. Like running out of breath. I just did it wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. And I'm not saying the girls that do that are wrong.
Yeah.
It's who they are. They are comfortable
Agreed.
sleeping with somebody for money
Yeah.
to live a good life.
Yeah.
That's good for them. But for me, it wasn't true to who I was at the time. It did not resonate whatsoever. What resonated with me is actually struggling through it
Yeah.
and getting the money as a reward for the work that I've done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no good or evil, guys. It's just people's preferences.
I feel you. But yeah, we moved away from this. The whole
Hard
expression.
men.
Hard times creating. So hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men.
Weak men.
And weak men create hard times. So it's as if it's an endless cycle, because I mean one feeds off from the other, and so on, right? 'Cause it looks like there's 4 scenarios: hard times, strong men, good times, weak men.
I want to say I believe in that, but the reality of it is, Naba Abo Bill Gates, who grew up in a good home, who had privileges, and he made more.
Yeah.
You know, he made a better time for his kids.
Yeah.
And his kids are probably going to create an even better time than he did, you know. So it doesn't always mean that you have to struggle to get strong character. I don't know. It just doesn't go with me. There's a lot of things that build character, and it shouldn't be struggle. And that's the thing, I feel like that's what Black people tell themselves a lot of, because we came from a time of struggle to get to where we are. So we believe that no, you have to struggle to have
That's
it
the narrative,
all.
yeah.
And do you see why people struggle to get it all? They have it all.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
But yes, they do. I'm not canceling out their struggles that they might be having. But when you compare what a black person struggles through, taking taxis, a taxi has a hole, you can see the road, while and you compare that to a white person driving an old Hyundai Ethos to go to university versus a black child. Guys, you don't have to struggle like that. You don't. It's unnecessary struggling, you know, and it doesn't mean that struggle builds character.
We're not dressing as struggle. Don't we have a face for struggle? Because when I know Bill Gates didn't struggle the same way that a black person did, right? But I don't think he was immune. Do you understand? He was immune to struggle, because if there's one constant thing about the human experience, is suffering. It's
inevitable.
Yeah, exactly, and it's imminent on the very same breath, right? So are we not? You know how where we are right now in SA, poverty has a face. It has an outfit. I don't know if you've noticed it, considering that you're also from the hood, Lukshin and the Akas. It starts with the clothes, isn't it? Or maybe that's the most obvious way to pick it up. Yeah. So is it not something that we ourselves are limiting in our brain and on our thinking capacity, where we look at the whole term struggle has a face, has an outfit, has a color? Can't we look beyond that? Yes, you're not struggling the same way that I'm struggling, but
it's still a struggle.
Yeah, it doesn't mean because he's staying in a big house, 4-bedroom house, wada, they're not struggling. It definitely doesn't look like your struggle, because you still have to. When you wake up, you think of, what am I gonna eat? When they wake up, that's not what they are thinking.
They're thinking of something different.
There is something that's occupying their mind.
You see, I think maybe it's the word.
Okay.
Struggle.
Yeah.
It's like the other day I was saying to my husband, Nimdaka. When somebody says that, you can feel that Nimdaka or Kimachila, you know, like there's some words that make something seem bigger, worse than it is. Do you get me? So when you come to me and I ask you, how are you? And you say, I am struggling. Yes, sis, I think you're going through it all. Do you understand?
By default.
But if you say, I'm going through a turbulence, I'm going through an obstacle, it makes I'm having deja vu. It makes...
There's a glitch.
There's a glitch in the matrix.
Something is about to happen when you're about to drop gems.
I hope tomorrow I don't wake up and this very same thing is happening again. Let the loop end. But I think when you say struggle, you make it seem like it's something that's impossible to resolve.
Okay.
Psychology, guys. Simple psychology. When you change the word or the sound or the color or the environment of something, your mind immediately changes.
It responds
it responds to what you're saying and how the environment is. So if you say to me, when I ask you how you're doing, you say you're struggling, I'm thinking you are going through it. You might as well be in a grave. You're gone. But if you say to me, no, I'm going through an obstacle, this is my obstacle, it makes it sound lighter. And that's how you'll perceive it in your brain as well. To say, no, actually what I'm going through is not a struggle. I'm just going through an obstacle. And that's what I've always told myself in my life, that you know what, Bugab, you will be rich. It may hurt right now, but it's part of the journey. And enjoy the hurt. Enjoy it. Enjoy the obstacles. I never called it a struggle, because struggle just made it seem impossible for me to resolve. It's permanent. It's that outfit thing that you're talking about. When I say I'm struggling, I feel like I'm wearing raggedy clothes. My hair's not done. I'm skinny, like you can see. You know, black
It's the eyes for me.
black suitcase under my eyes. It's like I'm struggling. But if I say to myself, I'm going through an obstacle, I'm just climbing a steep right now.
Yeah.
But all roads go up and they go down. And they go up and they go
As
down.
we've seen.
It's normal. It's life. Do you get me?
Yeah. No, I
So
get
it's let's just cancel out the word struggle. Obstacles build character.
Yeah. You know, I was also thinking around that that yes, everybody struggles, right? But there is as that blanket that you're saying, it has a what do you call it?
It's an outfit.
It's an outfit. That is kind of a different struggle to what we would say white people are other ethnic groups are having. Like, it's a different type of struggle. Our struggle feels like it's ever cycling around, but there's never a way out.
It's the loop that she.
Yeah, that type of loop. And it sounds like that because we actually do that.
Make it like
we make
that.
it like that. You know, we already know this, that anytime you try to make it outside or out of the hood, or out of Soweto, out of wherever, the villages are no better either. Right?
In case we are wondering.
Yeah, trust me, I know. In case you guys are wondering, trust me, I know. None of those are. There is a constant. You see, you've made an example on the previous upload where you said it was there's an experiment, like certain you put in 4 monkeys in a cage, you put a banana up there. When one monkey goes up to catch the banana, you spread water on all of the monkeys, right? And then you take out 2 monkeys. Now, because all of the 4 monkeys now know not to go up there. If one monkey tries to go up there, they even drag it down. So now they take out 2 monkeys and put in two new monkeys there. It is a banana. When it tries to go up there, the other monkeys that have been there already, they stop it, right? they stop the new monkeys. Like, you guys are newbies, come back, don't do that. And then they take out the old monkeys and put in two new monkeys. Now they're all new, who don't even know anything about what the struggle was there. But anytime any monkey wants to go up, every other monkey stops it. Like, the new monkeys want to go up, the new old monkeys now stop the other ones. They don't know why. But they just stop them. It feels like that. In our culture, I have mentioned this once, that even when someone. If I was to ask how are you, and the next person would be like, I'm doing great, I'm doing amazing. That is frowned upon. You have to be struggling.
Okay.
It is frowned upon.
Like,
yeah, like, exactly. It is frowned upon if you say I'm doing great, but say, hey man, hey, life. Hey, everybody is with you around.
Actually,
everybody is happy.
They
that
say
you're having
misery loves company.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Misery loves. If you are not miserable and people see that you're not miserable, it's like, Aibo, what are you doing? What's wrong?
And in any case, that is prevalent in our society, in our race, if anything. Like, that is how our grandmas used to greet the next grandma. Like, hey, how's my man?
Like, literally, that's my line when I'm at Soweto, guys. I promise you.
You don't want people,
Grand,
I'm not the only one,
Galaxies. But when I get to like a mixed group of race, how are you, PK? I'm good. I'm great. Thanks, in yourself. Yeah, like, it's not normal to say, crying doesn't help.
Yes. To
a white person, like, what are you crying about? Because
And that's it. That's exactly
What are you
that was
crying about?
that's what
Why
I was about
people
to say.
will ask
That
you, what are you crying
they're going
about?
to
How
ask,
can you
what are
solve
you
the
crying?
problem?
Why? Yeah, but in our generation, and that's where I was going with it. In our generation, if you say Kwalaxizi, everybody's like, yes, hi, yeah, we feel
Stop.
you, we're with you.
And everyone's like, okay,
and then they
that you're
leave it.
struggling.
They let it go.
Yeah, and then they let it go. So that is the problem with the with the struggle that I'm talking about. That there is a different struggle. Our struggle is a lifestyle. A struggle is a lifestyle. You live by the struggle, and that's not nice. I mean, there's no how do you prosper in a place like that though, where nothing good is something to celebrate. In any case, so
That's true. I mean, look at how we celebrate funerals. The saddest thing. But when a person
Even-
does graduation, it's like, yeah, there's a party, but everyone's like, "Nizombona ngekathola umsebenzi." You know, it's
nothing positive comes from when you are positive, which is very interesting. You are giving out positive energy, but you definitely get the opposite, and that is how you get dragged down, just like the monkeys.
But-
No one even knows why they're doing it anymore. It's just their lifestyle now.
But you can't blame. I mean, our parents come from a very difficult time,
Yeah.
you know, and imagine your friends dying every day. That's what I imagine apartheid was, by the way. Like my friend that I was talking with yesterday is now dead, you know.
That's a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
You imagine a friend dying every day.
Yeah.
A friend or somebody I know dying every day, and there's nothing you can do. Galaxies, for sure, or color.
Maybe that's where it came from.
Yes, you just
But
have
it's
to.
so fitting.
No, so I understand, and to me, how I'm looking at it is, it's not a criticism, it's an observation. It's just so I'm not putting anything as like, yeah, because this is the fault of like the older generation or anything. I understand as everybody has had their own challenges, their own obstacles, right? And it doesn't mean that when we see it we must not point it out.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not necessarily like a thing of it's noticing that is the thing. It's an observation, and with that observation, is it something that we should just let slide or continue life like that, as okay, at least we've just observed, or is it something that when we after the observation feels like, well, something has to be done about that, you know, around like how
I
we
think-
really
I think it's like a tattoo, right? You have this tattoo, you got it when you were young, you got used to it, it's fine, it's on your body. But now there's an opportunity to change the skull tattoo into a beautiful butterfly. We have to repaint, right? We have to, and there's luckily now there's resources online, there's videos, there's things like podcasts where you can listen to these things and they can change your perspective to say, instead of me thinking that I'm struggling, I can think that I'm just going through an obstacle, and each obstacle has a solution or a resolution. It ends, you know.
yeah, it has to end.
It
That is
has
my
to end.
problem. It has to end.
Into engapheli iyahlola. That's what they used to say.
Yes.
You know, if you're just crying every day, there's definitely something wrong. But crying comes to an end.
Yeah.
You know, there's always sunshine in the morning.
Yeah.
So we just have to remind people. The mind, I don't think people truly understand how powerful the mind is, and how much reprogramming Black people have to go through
Yeah.
to eliminate inherited trauma or inherited perspectives. You know, there are some things that we are currently, or we think that are not true. Like lente etswai, I still don't understand it. Mokututswai, how's that bad luck? I had to cancel that out of my life. Now when I spill salt, I've just spilled salt. Uguti, I'm gonna have bad luck. Everyone has bad luck at the end of the day, and that's fine. So we have to repaint the tattoos that are in our minds. You have to redesign them into something beautiful, you know. And I used to say this when I was young. I used to think about this: turn pain into power. That's my thing. That's like Bugela, turn pain into power. That's my slogan, you know.
That's your mantra.
Like it's such a beautiful thing. You know you are in pain. You know you just went through a breakup. But what can I do with this pain and anger and rage? Where can I channel this energy? What can I fix with all this negativity that I'm carrying around? You know. So with all this trauma that we have, we still have, or I believe that most of us still have that anger, that rage of being a black person, that unending fight within us. So what can we do with this thing, with this ball of energy? What can we change?
Yeah.
You know, how can we repaint this picture? Ukala kusizi, but
Yes.
you know, we have to add something after.
That's true. It
Ukala
has to.
kusizi, but into engapheli yahlola.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's that shift in the
actually.
mentality.
It's that shift in the mentality, and
actually sounds so nice.
I promise you, like, if we start, and I used to write poems a lot, and I was very aware of the kinds of words that you use really have an impact. The words are like knives sometimes, or words can be like a hug, you know. So if we learn that Trigoti, use the right words. Use the right words. The right word can change somebody's entire day. Use the right words. So no more struggle. Obstacles, guys. I'm saying this the third time. You will hear it on the tape. In case.
You did it for the first time. You did it for the second time. The time is strike out. So it needs to drill in the head.
The charm, it needs to go in that you need to think differently about the words that you tell yourself. I'm not worthy. I am worthy.
No, actually, everything you're saying, like the re-emphasis on on the same thing, is actually what we do. I always think, like, the one thing that you still brought was you spoke about self-worth, right? That's already something we always speak about. For the most part, that is always the conversation that really, like, everywhere you go, there you are. You know, like, so there's always you in those types of places, and that is the one first thing that you should always know, that is you first before anything else, right? And then from there, how can you help? Now, by the way you help like that, it's also active. You're active around how you're helping. So you're not just a shell helping, but you are you. You know, you are aware that it's me who is helping someone. And then you also mentioned a part where you say you must know yourself. Is it your granddad?
Yeah, be true to yourself.
Yeah, like that. Know yourself. I always bundle that with never lie to yourself. You can lie to anyone around you,
but not yourself.
If you must never convince yourself of the lie that you just convinced other people of. If you are giving people lies, right? Yeah, like it is definitely that though. Like, it's all of it is literally for us to always be like self-conscious. Like, that is the first place to start. The first starting point is you, and then you spread out. Like, you know, and I think that is always what you're saying is always what we always speak about. We always speak about the same thing. I think we are like putting it in different
ways. Yeah.
It always sounds like the same thing.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun.
Except for the people that have been able to, or fortunate enough to go in. What is it when you search for treasure in that whole experience?
Yeah.
Because that's what it looks like. That is what we should be doing, is going on a journey to
find something,
to find these treasures of life.
Yeah.
You know, because to operate from that, she said, you know, a lot of people are unaware of how crazy and how important and powerful your mind is. just this tool up here, which obviously regulates everything in some sense, right? It helps every other part, and if it's off, you're not there.
Yeah.
So you could be alive, as in you have the energy,
Yeah.
but you're not alive because you don't have the desire, you don't have the intention, you don't have the grit.
Yeah.
There's something that you're missing,
Yeah.
right? And which is why you should go on a journey
Yeah.
to find what you're missing, to find never change who you are.
Yeah.
Always gravitate towards that.
And there's one thing I said to somebody, right? People think, I'll make depression as an example. When you're feeling sad, feeling, a lot of feeling is unworthy, uncertain, you're just not there. It's just gray. You feel gray. That's what I call depression. I feel gray.
The color sounds like that.
Yeah.
That word sounds like that color.
And I was speaking to someone the other day, and he was saying that he was depressed at this job, and he left that job, and now he's just trying to recollect his life. He didn't feel like he was alive. And I said to him, you know what, actually, people don't perceive pain as this, but pain is just a reminder that you're alive. Because imagine if you're just wandering about in life and it's always sunshine, it's always yellow, it's like you miss so many things, like that thing we were saying about character building. But in pain, that's when you feel alive. I don't know how to explain it, guys. But there's people who cut themselves, right?
Yeah.
Those people who, and they say, no, when I cut myself, I feel pain. And that's when I feel alive. And I took it, because I had a friend like that in high school, but I took it as emotional pain, not physical. But so every time I felt pain, a breakup, whatever, I've really appreciated that time, because it's when I know I'm alive. I know for
There's
real.
nothing that will remind you that you are alive.
I'm living. I'm going through
I'm
it.
really experiencing this. I'm here.
I'm here, I'm crying every day. This guy broke my heart. I'm here. And I don't know, guys. I'm a huge advocate for pain.
I once spoke
In
to,
case.
I once spoke to like friends of mine, and we were speaking about sadness. And I'm like, I hear a lot of people say that people always try to avoid sadness, but I can understand people who actually are happy within that type of feeling within themselves, like people who have accustomed themselves with sadness, who understand what sadness is, and so I can sit in the house and play like sad, depressing music, not because I want to be depressed, but to feel something. There's a lot of feeling that comes with
Being sad.
pain, being sad, like this most of these negative connotations, like that people always want to try to avoid. I feel like in its way it is character building. And then to add, I do think that really, if you say you've lived, you have to have experienced, and there is no you have to have experienced happiness. No, not just that alone. Everything, the whole package. Then you have lived.
That's living.
That is living. If there is something that you are aware of, and you hear that there is something called pain and you have never experienced it, how would you say you have lived if you haven't had like that experience of like every time just always avoiding to have a
Pain.
It's like now is really, if it was sunny every day, would we really appreciate the sun?
You see
Exactly.
it, you also see it in the kids that were sheltered for the whole life, right? Where their parents create a bubble for them, shelter them from the pains and I guess the reality of the world.
Yes.
Right. That when maybe in some way they experience rejection for the first time or pain for the first time,
It shatters them.
Yeah. They can't pull themselves together. They can't recollect themselves. If anything, they can go all the way to ending their lives because it's not something. I I don't want to use this word, can't think of anything else. It's not something they're accustomed to, right? To have to deal with.
Yeah.
And on the pain thing, I understand completely. Remember when I shared when I sprained my ankle?
Yes.
So I was in the
Your
gym and
nerve
I
also
sprained.
alive.
Yo, that feeling. It's in some sense it's also dangerous because it's addictive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it
so
is.
I sprained it, and instead of whining or like, hey, okay, that's nice.
I always say to people, right, after my near-death experience, like my life before, guys, you wouldn't believe this because you guys knew me after, right?
We knew you when you were incarnated.
Yeah. My life before, like literally, I remember like months before I got almost abducted. I was there, man, but not there. I was just living because I had to.
Autopilot.
Yeah, I was autopiloting.
Like most of us.
Like most of you guys who haven't been reborn.
I like
Haven't been reborn.
No.
And it's like after my incident, my life took a turn.
Yeah.
Like a real turn.
Overnight kind of turn.
Like I found the right partner. I found a job.
Yeah.
Now I'm here. Like it's like I'm living in a movie. Like,
Yeah.
like
You see, you know, you've seen this.
Yeah.
that one horrific experience. And it happened in 15 minutes. The whole thing was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it changed everything. Right? Those 15 minutes of hardcore pain, physical and emotional, mental. I mean, they're taking me away from everything I know. Just changed my life.
Yeah.
So truly, yes, for me, it's a tested and stamped theory that I have to struggle to go through the best experience afterwards. Not sure for other people it's like that, but for me in my personal life, when I go through a struggle, I smile because I know sunshine is gonna.
Great thing is coming.
It's gonna be like a sunset in Cape Town,
And
you know.
that is the great thing about knowing that it's winter. You know that summer's coming.
Yes,
Hey,
That is the next thing.
it's assuring. It's
100%.
It's indicative, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very
100%.
Like
So-
from here, it just gets better.
nice.
It's
You
been
know,
dark.
if this is the worst for you, just know that that is about it. That is the worst.
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
So there's
Hang in there, dog.
and I always forget this saying, man. And I said it to you last time, saying, it's but anyway, I'll say it the way I understand it. They say, live like tomorrow will either be your best day or your worst day. So if you are in today, like today,
Yes.
tomorrow could be your worst day. Meaning today was a really good day and tomorrow's your worst day, meaning you could have enjoyed today. Because tomorrow's like the worst thing you've ever experienced. Or today could be the last worst day you are having and tomorrow is a really good day. So enjoy the present.
In any case, yeah.
You know? And I always remember that, I just forgot the what.
The actual expression.
Yeah. But I always, Kumo says, remember death. That's how he summarizes it. Remember death, because tomorrow might be bad, tomorrow might be great. So always live in the present.
Yeah.
So people
So, do you think? So, given that you know that you had like one of the worst days before, right? Is it a thing where you think that? Do you think that your worst days are behind you?
No. Tomorrow might be a worst day for me.
As per the philosophy,
as per the philosophy.
Tomorrow might be like the worst days of my life.
Yeah.
So I had forgotten this earlier this year, mind you. So this whole and I wanted to comment this earlier. The whole thing about finding your worth, and it's not something you'll always have. It's like a habit. It's like working out. You have to constantly exercise that part of your brain just to remind yourself and validate yourself and say, I am worthy, I am happy, I am okay, things are okay, you're okay, you've had a meal at night, you've had a meal in the, you know, it's not, it doesn't come automatic. You have to practice it with the small crisis and the bigger things that may occur in your life. So I am aware that earlier this year I was on autopilot again for some weird reason. I went back to my old habits of dealing with crisis, which is just shutting down. Just forget everything and move on like nothing is happening. Just ignore it, you know. Yeah, and it fucked me up. It did, because I didn't even notice that everything around me was falling apart. My family, my work. Oh, yes, I am present. I'm doing, it's like I'm a robot. You know, I'm doing what I have to do, but I'm not really feeling it. I'm not experiencing it. I'm not living it. I'm just doing it.
Just doing it.
You know? So it really messed a lot of things up, and then I had to restart therapy again like everyone else here. And I had to be reminded again that, have you been practicing saying these things to yourself? Have you been validating yourself? Have you been seeing? So now, even in my marriage, I have like Kumo appreciation days where I appreciate him every week, once a day. You know, I get to experience being around Kumo. I get to experience loving him. I get to, like, I'm in the moment. I'm experiencing it. I'm living it. Even with my children, I have days that I sit, I'm like, you know what? For these days, no work, no thinking about work, no thinking about anything else during this time. But I'm just appreciating this moment. And it came when Kumo's uncle passed away, and Kumo called me and said, you know what, Bugelo, if I die at this moment, I just want you to know that I love you. And ever since that day, I've been thinking that, if I die,
Will they know?
not will they know. It's not about them. I'm sorry, I'm a very selfish person, but
We
If-
we advocate for selfishness this such.
if I die, will I feel like I experienced life? Will I feel like I truly experienced life? Because, like, every day I'm in this beautiful house.
It is. You're not just saying it.
Will I feel like I experienced the beauty of the house truly? I mean, my gutters are falling apart on the other side of the house, but it doesn't cancel out the fact that the house is beautiful. Do you get me?
Yeah, definitely.
So many things could be happening in life, but it doesn't mean that it's not beautiful. It's not amazing. So I had to remind myself, I had to come back to myself and remember who I was and remember what was true to me. And that is experiencing life.
Experiencing life, man.
Just experience it.
And
Experience it.
experience it in whatever level of your life you are in.
Yes.
Whatever trials you are in.
Yes.
Whatever position you are in right now. But just to experience it. Experience that life. Like, doesn't matter if you are a billionaire or you are poor.
A centennial.
You are a centennial. You are there. You are there. That's the one thing that's always common. You are always going to be there.
Yes.
And you have to experience those type of things. And know, so you know that something is bad because as a kid they hit you, they slapped you on the wrists, right? yeah, that type of experiences, those type of experiences are the slap in the wrist.
Part
if
of
anything.
life, yeah.
You know?
I think to myself, if like there's an afterlife and I get there and I get an opportunity to tell people about my life,
Yeah.
right? If, like, for example, when I was living in Soweto, there was a point where I hated everything about Soweto, the lack of trees. There's a mine dump next to where I stay. Like, I hated everything about it. And now that I'm thinking, if I had died at that moment and I got a chance to tell God a story about my life, it would just be filled with hate.
Sadly.
It would just be filled with negativity. Do you get me? Like, yeah, everything was bad, everything was wrong. But there was beauty.
Yeah.
In that moment in Soweto.
And you did laugh.
Like, the community had a mob justice thing. I know it's not nice for the criminal, but the way the community came together that day to resolve one neighbor's problem, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
The love, the way abo mama bama ekhoneni ngakhona selling, trying to feed their kids.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Like, I learned, I don't know when,
Exactly.
after that moment, but I remember I was in a Patco bus, sitting at the back. I was miserable for my job, and I was looking at everyone, and people were smiling.
Yeah.
People were talking to each other. People were laughing. And I thought to myself, with all the struggles that they are going through in a Patco bus, you know how much Patco bus is a struggle. In a Patco bus, if they can find beauty in this moment, why can I not?
Yeah.
Why can't I?
Yeah, because right, that is a very interesting thing, because it did sound even now when I was even listening to it, and I would definitely like to, even on our side, I would definitely like to even like put it like better, like when we were even speaking about like the black community and everything. Everything around it sounded like it was bad. We do know that there is good around it, though. There is definitely great around it. I also remember like so many great memories. There's familyhood back in the village. We all ate together at the same time. Those type of things. That is something that is very, 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 very rare, to eat together at the same time. That is rare for the rich people even, and that is the crazy part, that with all of these things you don't have time to even have time with your family.
Exactly.
So that's another great thing. We used to sit in the fire with my grand. She used to just give us stories, whatever stories. I used to sleep in the fire with someone next to the fire.
In the fire, hey.
Next to the fire, and I would wake up in bed because my grandma, my aunt, like, it's a big family, has carried me to bed, those type of things. So there are also great things. That's why even with the experiences, as we say, even with the pain, it's, someone said, I might have done something bad to you, but I also have done something good to someone else. And
Yeah.
that is a perspective. That is how you also need to even look at it. There is so much bad in the way, like, the philosophies, certain philosophies we have, as like the from like our race, or I mean even other races, in a way they have their own bad, right? But also at the same time, it was great. There has also been like great times around there. There has been like the greatest times even around there. Most times I speak to a friend of mine, and when we were speaking, we spoke about God, right? And the idea around that was, I said, I'm not complaining, God. Thank you for the family I have. I wouldn't have asked for any other family, given the experiences I've experienced already now, right? I wouldn't change them for anything. but you could have just put like a little bit of like
Billion.
a million, just a small million would go around, Yeah. But the reason you wouldn't change the family that you have is because there has also been some great times that you've gone through. It was not all
Bad.
and gloomy.
Even with the worst relationships, when you go through a breakup,
Yes.
you are angry, sharp. But I have a present that my ex left me with, and it's 10 years old now.
It's beautiful.
So yes, and it's beautiful. And I can't. Yes, when the breakup started, I hated him. I don't think actually I possess the ability to hate someone, but I'm just gonna use hate as a word now because there's no other word. I disliked him. Yes, that's a better word. And I learned to think about the good times we had, me and him.
Yeah.
And although we had really bad times, but we had good times as well. And those are the stories that I tell our child. You see, there's so many baby mamas who only tell the bad because they are angry and they cannot understand that it's not just the bad that happened. There's good as well. So when my child asked me why, when I actually prompted her to say, do you want to know why we are not together? It's because we don't fit together like a puzzle. You have to fit together.
You have to dumb it down, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Don't intellectualize it.
you have to fit together with a person like a puzzle. And unfortunately, we were great at being friends, but not great at being partners.
Yeah.
I don't hate him, he doesn't hate me. We're just not great at being together in the same house every day.
Yeah.
We don't fit like a puzzle, so that she knows that it's there were good times. I've saved pictures, I've saved, she understands, it was bad. It ended up bad, but there was good in it.
From our first upload where we had like the first person, like a friend that we recorded with, she told me this somewhere in 2021. She said she never speaks bad of her ex, and she explained how sometimes doing that is actually opening another door for the next person to know where the limits are. Okay, so up until here I can't do, but those type of things. Like, there are a lot of bad things that come from you speaking bad about your partner as well. As for if you can specify the great things that the partner has done, then there is a target for you as well as the new partner. I wouldn't say it's like the pressure, but it is a target. You go with a mentality there that this person has been treated well. I cannot do, the least I can do is at least be on par with the past. But now, if the only thing you have is negative, your expectations are even low. You actually have
You're
nothing
setting the bar low.
You just have to call every day. That is it. Like, call every day. How are you? Like, don't forget that your previous partner didn't call every day.
You can see that.
Yeah.
I'm doing way better than him.
I'm doing way better than him.
There's a guy that actually told me, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. He said to me, one of his friends had a girlfriend that has been through, can I say shit?
Yeah.
Okay, that has been through shit.
Like, it's very interesting that she's asking now, because previously she said it was fucked up.
Thinking, what's the alternative? What, two feces? It doesn't land. Remember the powerful words.
So she had just been through shit with her previous boyfriend. She told the guy, he used to beat me up, he used to do this, and then I only left her. And then this guy that's telling me the story is like, Pela, this girl is expecting my friend to take damaged goods. And I looked at him and I was like, the hell?
The nerve.
Saying this to a woman, phela nami bake bangitrap.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Went
And he's
personal.
like, no, you don't go around. Number one, when you're a woman, save your stories. Don't tell us what rubbish you've been through, because then we know you are damaged goods, right? When we say you are damaged goods, we mean you can take you are literally a doormat. You know, you can take it, and you expect me to take you and treat you like a queen when you've let other men treat you like a doormat. No way, dude.
It's even worse.
I'm gonna treat you the same way.
Because like, even to his defense, it's the part where he even where the girl who was explaining to him said, and I stayed. That is even worse. That really is, you are really a doormat if you that you even stayed, right? It even gets to that part where, okay, so you even stayed. Now it's even it worsens the whole situation, so it doesn't help your case in any case. And again, this also sounds like the same thing I said earlier, that it's not really it's not really me or us saying that it criticizing a person for the decisions they've made in their lives, right? But it is an observation. Like, if you observe, by just observing, that is something that the next person really takes with them. If you tell me everything you have ever gone through has been bad, guys, it's not attractive. It's not attractive,
But
and
also it's not true.
Yeah, it really is not true also.
And I always like the whole thing about always looking at the bright side, né? I always attach it to how I view God, right? A lot of people go to church. I'm not a church goer. I sleep in church, guys. Literally. And I always say to people how I view or think of God. I experience God. I don't read about him in the Bible. I don't learn about him from a pastor.
Yeah.
I experience him every day in my life. When I'll show you guys my lemon tree. When I'm working every day, I look at that lemon tree and I'm like, I'm not flowering it.
Yeah.
It's just getting sunlight and that random rain when it rains.
Yeah.
But that thing is blossoming like crazy, you know? And I see God's beauty in that. I see everything beautiful about God. In my past relationships, yes, there were bad times, but there were good times where there was love in there. And I actually literally looked at the person and I said, I see God in you. You know, I see God. God is love. And at this moment, I see God in you.
That's my first vow, first line, opening line for my vows.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm gonna
taking
steal
it.
that.
No, I'm taking it from you.
Yeah.
I'm taking it from you. I see God.
You
Yeah.
like there's like what we keep saying, there's so much beauty in the world, there's so much beauty around us, and that's constantly happening on a daily basis. And I think my view of God has just also helped me stick to the positive side.
Yeah.
Just saying, I see that bird, it's flying. How marvelous is God? You know, how great is God for me to have a mop? You know, who would have thought about creating a mop for one? You know, so that kind of thinking, seeing the beauty in everything. Once you see the beauty outside, also you start seeing the beauty inside. It's hard for you not to. It's hard. But when you look at it and say, yeah, there's no trees, it's boring here, everyone is sad, everyone is angry, obvious, you're gonna see yourself, rubbish.
Yeah. You know, with that, the conversation we had yesterday was that I believe that we have to so actually this actually proves exactly what we spoke about, that the other problems with being like back home, when you look at it, is that there is a community, right? But most times here there's a community that can even do great. You know, like in a way of the wood, like the things that they can build. This community knows that in numbers we can make sure that even when we get load shedded, we can find ourselves. We can complain to get to the. People don't even know who the what's the number of the councillor of that place.
Yeah.
You know, those type of things.
Yeah.
We don't know the number of the councillor of the area that we stay in, but we have a councillor in the area that we stay in, and that person is the person who is responsible for the things that happen.
Yeah.
You know, but in a community like this, they know that they can build that, and versus in another community where we do have like these things, the mob, everything, right? They do help, but when you look at it, is we can do more, can't we?
Yeah,
like
we
when
can.
you look at it, we can, right?
We always speak about it.
Yeah, and we
How
spoke.
far can you stretch yourself?
Yeah, what we spoke about yesterday was that the one thing I really realized about my community is that they don't understand that their strength is each other.
Yeah.
You know, to be together as like a community is the power, is the strength.
Agreed. It's just one of those unfortunate things that even in such a setting, it takes one person to actually stand up and
Yeah,
take it upon
you
themselves.
did say that it takes one person.
Yeah. And then hopefully the rest follow suit.
Yeah.
But in the event that they don't, you never want to operate from a place of where people are fueling you in
Yes.
some sense.
Yeah.
Right. Which ideally, I know it's one of those things, because I'm also very much mindful of the things that we speak about and that we're not asking a lot. But in all honesty, it's not a lot in the sense of what a lot is.
Yeah, there is
A lot
way
because
more.
we have backpedaled
Yes,
instead of moving forward.
exactly.
So the starting point, which was always supposed to be the starting point of anything, has now become
and it starts from a negative already, not
Exactly.
from a positive.
Exactly.
Not from a zero, but from a negative.
0.5, a negative 5.
Yeah.
Now that you have to
Where the starting point or is supposed to be zero at
yeah,
least. Not,
at least.
Yeah, at least you start from zero, not from the
But
negative.
now you start before zero.
And now when you have to explain everything to get to zero, it's
Yeah.
a lot. You know, to just get to zero.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just thinking about that you see with even with the communities we have around us, the communities I'm talking about now is even our friends, building something with
Community,
our friends.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
having
And
like
you're such a proponent of
having-
that. You've
having-
always been advocating.
I always advocate for such things. Growing together is the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Growing together as like a community is the easiest thing to do. That is easier than each to their own.
Yeah.
That is much easier. Like for each individual to just want to deal with something alone, that is the problem. If it was just you from this household alone complaining to the councillor and not a body of the neighborhood complaining, maybe the head of the body is complaining, there's a difference. You know, and for the most part it has always felt like that when it comes to like even the communities back home. We don't understand the strength that we have, is that
As
the
a whole.
numbers, you
That's
know,
the
like,
hack.
and that is the hack.
Yeah, even in any revolution that you can possibly think of,
It
whether
is the
it's
numbers.
local or overseas. A revolution, yes, it will start with that one person who was fed up,
Yes.
right? But you should also find the people that are in their own capacity at
Like-minded.
the age, right?